Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel for another Legacy video. Today, I'm playing a card I'm very excited about from Wild's Drain. This is Up the Beanstalk that I have built into Blue Zenith Control from Patreon subscriber Blue. Up the Beanstalk, 1 and a green enchantment. When Up the Beanstalk enters the battlefield, and whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. Just on rate. 1 and a green, draw a card. Not great, but it is an object that sits around and can be flickered with Yorion later. We are a Yorion deck. Kind of pads out the abundant growth sort of stuff. And it's an enchantment, so it's hard to remove. It just sits around and makes Yorion better. Also, when you cast that Yorion, you draw a card right away for each Up the Beanstalk you control, plus 1 when you flicker them all. And in the meantime, when this just sits in play, Solitude, on the pitch or on the hard cast, draw a card. Force of Will, pitch or hard cast, draw a card. Yorion Revealed, draw 4. Leyline Binding, get rid of a thing, draw a card. Atraxa, draw a card, then look at your top 10. And really cool about all these X spells in the deck, there are 9 X spells in the deck. You can dump enough mana into these to draw a card off your Beanstalks, even if you don't really need it. Like Prismatic Ending, if you want to exile a 1-drop, you can pay 5 mana to do that if you want to cantrip a couple of times off your Beanstalks. Green Sun Zenith, you can Zenith for X equals 4, even if you're just getting a 3-drop. Draw a card. Fourth Airlingus, obviously you're probably going to X for as big as you can anyway, but guess what? Draw a card. Good stuff. There's other ways to build this deck. Like, you could lean all the way in and not do Zenith stuff and just max out Solitude. You could play 4 Terminus. That's another card that triggers Up the Beanstalk. Miracles in general, really good at doing this. Someday Triumph of St. Catherine will do it, but not on Magic Online yet. Lots of mana value 5 or greater spells in Legacy that you don't actually spend 5 mana on. And I'm here to abuse that today. All of this put into a 4-color Zenith control deck. We're actually 5-color here on second assessment. We're on the full 5-color Yorion. Abundant Growth tying it together. There's 1 Xander's Lounge in the deck and 1 Taiga. I chose Xander's Lounge as my 1 Triome because you can lead on Savannah, and then Xander's Lounge gives you Leyline Binding on turn 2 while being a blue land that you can get with Yorion Revealed or most of your fetch lands. That just seemed like the best way to line up the 2 lands to get 5 land types out of all the options that were available. It's also a Taiga and a Bayou in the deck if you want to do it the slow way. And the Zenith package is a little lighter than normal Blue Zenith. I had to make room for all these 5-drops and Beanstalks. There's no Icefang Quaddles in this build. I cut the stuff like Undermountain Adventurer and had to cut Endurance, cut one of the Uros. Just, this is a trial run kind of proof of concept experiment on Up the Beanstalk. I'm sure this list is not optimized, but we are going to draw a lot of cards. Let's get into it. This is Blue's Bean Sun Beanith. Was that good? I'm workshopping that. That's probably going to be the title. Let's get into it. This is Blue Beanith from Blue. I'm on the draw for round 1. I've got interaction for both spells and creatures I'm going to keep. Those are the 2 types of things there are. Uh-oh. Probably in trouble here. Yesterday I released a deck with Beseech the Mirror, the new combo engine enabler thing from Wild's Drain. That card is nutty busto. Just putting that out into the world for anyone who didn't watch that video. We might just die deterministically right now from a Storm deck. We might also be against Doomsday, who's setting some stuff up. This is not really the matchup you want when you're playing 5-color Zenith. You want fair decks. You go way over the top in fair matchups. Don't know why my Yorion keeps coming on and off the screen. Stay right here. This is where you belong. Okay, it is a Storm deck. This is not going to be Doomsday with Chrome Mox and Bayou in it. And we might just die to Beseech right now. Oh yeah, here it comes. Okay, so they can Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Chrome Mox from Graveyard tendrils me out. Yep. Clean little deterministic line. Happens on very small resources. This is some crazy stuff. And because Beseech casts the spell it tutors for... Oh no, they still have the Chrome Mox. I was about to say they have Exact Storm, but they actually have more Storm than they need. Spell Pierce, JK, don't have it. And these are the tightest Storm kills we've seen in a very long time. The easiest to protect. I don't think it's right, but my build yesterday had Active Negation in it, because you don't rely on Lion's Eye Diamond to go off anymore. It's still in the deck, and it's still very good, but like I think using a discard spell to make sure the coast is clear, probably better. Oh, woof. There's that. A Veil of Summer is coming in. Force of Vigor is interesting. Not normally a card I bring in against Storm, but if they need their objects around to bargain them, it gets a lot more interesting. Because I could, like, in response to Dark Ritual, Force of Vigor their Chrome Mox, and then Beseech might not actually get what they need it to. Surgical's definitely in. They are a pretty hard graveyard line. Things I don't need. Grist the Hunger Tide. Solitude. I don't hate any of my Zeniths. Swords to Plowshares, I imagine will find 0 targets. All these cantrips, all these blue cards to support my forces. In Beanstalk, not great. Loam pretty slow. Collector Oof. Might be a banger. Might be irrelevant. Normally Oof is a unit against decks like this, but they only need their artifact to be a thing to sacrifice. They don't necessarily need it for mana too. That's very interesting. But okay, these are the cards I'm bringing in, and I'm gonna try to not die immediately. Okay. If I were cheating, this is what my hand would look like. I'm gonna keep it. I think one of the lands would be a Flusterstorm if I was actually cheating, but this is very close to the nut. Hey, pass the turn. Ooh, they're just passing. I'm gonna fetch my Xander's Lounge and just get this set up, and then I'll get Savannah with the Flooded Strand. Another Beanstalk. I like it. Savannah, round out the squad. Okay. Hopefully that's enough of a speed bump that I can start going up the Beanstalk. I think the squeeze of Force of Vigor and Collector Roof is an interesting one. Because now all their artifacts is good for is bargain material, and that's also why I brought in Force of Vigor to cut out their bargain material. I do have to watch out for a creature juke. Even like 8 goblins on this board out of Empty the Warrens would be pretty tough for me to catch up with my current setup. Also in my deck yesterday, just putting it out there, I had Ave Progenitor Ooze in the sideboard as a creature juke, which is almost certainly worse than Empty the Warrens, which is a card that you can Beseech for and avoid Graveyard Hate and avoid Veil of Summer. And Ave is dope as hell. She's bigger, but getting got by Beseech is pretty freaking important. Speaking of getting got, let's go up the Beanstalk. First time on the channel. Give me that sweet card. Nice. Okay. The beans are up. Opponent asked in the chat, how's the stock bean? And I replied, up. I hope that was the right answer. I don't know. It's the first time I've ever cast it. I'm not going to cast the other one, not unless I find another green card to pitch to force. I feel like we're all working towards the same direction here. All right. They see my hand now. They see that I have 2 ways to interact. We will determine if they can beat both of them while navigating Collector Roof. Took the Surgical. Okay. And then slowed their roll. Okay, cool. Okay, I think this green card sucks. My options are cast Halfling, put Yorion in my hand, leave up Beanstalk, or I could play Beanstalk, draw a card, hold on to the Halfling. Yeah, I think Halfling is worse than going up the Beanstalk more here. I play a lot of lands. I also probably should have cast that off the basic. Doesn't really matter here, but just good habits. I can also elbow tap this Prismatic Ending next turn and draw 2 cards if there's any permanent in play to target. All right, a down and dirty Infernal Tutor, revealing Dark Ritual. Unfortunately, I don't have my lands tap for too many colors. I could cast Prismatic Ending for 5 white, target up the Beanstalk. It doesn't get exiled because it costs 2 and converges 1, and I would draw 2 cards. Didn't come up, clearly, but it's a thing that did exist. All right, Yorion's in the hand. I can still Force of Vigor. They're still under Collector Roof. Yorion's gonna Ancestral Recall next turn. Or better than that, it's gonna Jace's Ninja doing? Nope. What's the one that draws 4? I forget. I'm embarrassed now. Opportunity? No, Opportunity draws 2. Oh, no, it is Opportunity. Cool. Yeah, all right, figured it out. I'm deeply shamed by not having all cards that draw cards in Magic's history memorized. Okay, we're getting another turn. We've got 7 cards in hand. 2 of them are Dark Ritual. Flooded Strand can get Tropical Island, which represents Flusterstorm and Veil of Summer. I think it's better to just shove Yorion and leave Flooded Strand up rather than try to represent anything clever with Caracas. And now we will behold an unprecedented amount of card advantage, never observed in any deck. Wow, that feels crazy. I get to draw those. Then Yorion comes in. Flickers the bean some more. Oh, I shouldn't say it like that. Wow. All right, got to be careful with that one. The beans will come back and draw 2 cards. And now I have to go to discard. Wow. Bounty of Riches. I think Caracas can go to the graveyard because I have this Remnant Excavator anyway. They continue passing the turn. I don't know if it's the Oof, the Force of Vigor, or both that's locking them here, but wow, it feels good. I can Zenith here for Leovold, draw 2 more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would still be leaving up 1 mana. I think I'm into that. I'm going to overpay for this. So I draw 2 cards. We're in the end game now, Stark. Drew Flusterstorm and Surgical Extraction and put Leovold into play. Opponent can't draw cards. If they target me, I start drawing cards. And they're dead on board. I have to discard a bunch of cards anyway. I think I want to extract their Infernal Tutors from their deck. It's going to be hard to pay out a Beseech, so let's take that. Okay, yeah, they don't want to show me their deck. That was nutty. Wow. Having a good time right now. Even if we lose this match, that was freaking sweet. I don't think my deck gets better. All the good cards are in already. Uh-oh. A completely non-functional hand. Force of Vigor that doesn't pitch, and 2 spot removal spells. Well, again, that. Ooh, do I keep a no-lander with Force of Will in it? Orion Revealed and Abundant Growth get me going the second I find a land. It's either that or go to 5. I'm going to keep. This is reckless, obviously, but, like, do I think a 5 with a land in it is going to be better than this? If they take any time getting set up, it gives me time to get set up. If I draw the land, we're just in business. Whatever, run it. All right, come on, deck. 27 outer. Magic's easy. Beseiju, and I'm going to growth it. I think growth is better than Halfling, given how my hand looks. Rainstorm from the opponent. Their Ponder did not shuffle last turn. They like everything they see. Bayou, I think they're... played around it. Nice. You didn't plan for my Beseiju as my only land strategy. Unfortunately, I do have to cycle Orion Revealed here to actually play the game at all, so they will get an island when it's all said and done. I believe Tropical Island is the one here that casts my Halfling. Oh, I should have gotten Tundra and exiled their Carpet. That probably was a better play. All right. They have 1 extra mana this turn that they didn't need, but I have 1 extra mana next turn, so I don't know. We'll see how hard that bites me. Floated a black, played Brainstorm. Okay. And assuming that we're still alive and my hand is still intact next turn, I can go up the Beanstalk and Prismatic Ending the Carpet. I do not feel safe with 1 Force of Will between me and Deterministic Death, though. Opponent burnt off their black mana, and they're just passing. All right, they tanked about that for a long time. I suspect they have a win, but it's not currently protected. That's why I'm choosing to read that. Okay, Beanstalk turns Force of Will into a cantrip. I am interested in having that active more than trying to Abundant Growth here. And Prismatic Ending, get rid of the carpet. It's extra important to remove those permanents. Not only is it gaining advantage, but you can bargain enchantments away. There's also a really cool line with these decks specifically where you can make mana main phase 1 with carpet, bargain away the carpet, Gaia's Will, replay the carpet, move to second main. Now it's a new carpet in a new main phase, and you get all the mana again. Super sick. Okay. Down and Dirty Infernal Tutor. That's not where I spend my counter spells. Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay. If they take an LED line that empties their hand, I've got a chance. Okay, Windswept Heath. I think I want to Beanstalk first. Or no, I need to Heath first. If I'm going to Abundant Growth and Beanstalk this turn, which is my plan. A basic Forest. Abundant Growth the Forest. I would love to add a Veil of Summer or a Flusterstorm to my hand. I'm going to tap the Boseiju. Just leave a basic. I like leaving up basics, you all know me. That Leyline Binding looking pretty bad here. Force of Will does draw 2 cards, which could draw me another Force Blue card. I suspect we're going to see Thoughtseize, You're Freaking Dead at some point in the near future. But because I have these 2 Beanstalks, Force of Will on Thoughtseize actually replaces all of the cards involved, and gives me the out to hit Veil of Summer or Flusterstorm again. Or Surgical, also in the deck. And we're approaching the double Beanstalk endgame, where if my opponent doesn't get something together quickly, I'm going to bury them. Okay, once again, they tanked for a very long time, then passed the turn without doing anything. I like that. If I fetch Xander's Lounge here, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls. Okay, so I can just cast this for 2 mana. I have Island Forest in play. I guess if Windswept Heath had fetched a Plains, I could have planned a little better ahead for this Leyline Binding. And then Xander's Lounge would do everything. But Xander's Lounge adds only 2 land types to the board, and so does nothing else. Yeah, because it has to be a Plains. There's no Plateau in the deck. Yeah, Forest, Island are the 2 that I have, and my only Plains tool is also a Forest and an Island. So Xander's Lounge is still the biggest cost reduction I get, but it enters the battlefield tapped. It's kind of all over the map right now. I think I just passed the turn with no play here. Having access to Force of Will and Leyline Binding is pretty big. That's draw 4 at instant speed, and Leyline Binding is a meaningful thing versus the bargain deck. And if they want to play draw go with me, I'm just going to flash in Binding in the end step. Xander's Lounge, and then Leyline Binding. I'll just draw 2. I'll take it. Ding ding, another Force. I am not applying pressure, which means they don't have to do anything, but I am drawing a crap ton of cards. I can Uro here and then put Yorion in my hand. I could also Uro here and then cast Uro. If I draw a blue card, that might be better. Probably should have used Lighted Halfling for the back half. I did not draw a blue card. I'm going to pop Yorion in hand. That gives me Force blue card, Surgical Extraction. And I draw 4 cards along the way if I have to use all these forces. And Uro is ready to apply pressure next turn. So is Yorion. This is the last turn they have to sculpt before they're under real pressure. Dark Ritual. Okay, something's happening. Cabal Ritual. From 8 cards in hand, I wonder if they're going to try to natty tendrils me, but I am at 21. Petal. We know LED are 2 of the other cards in the hand. Alright, here they all are. Beseech the Mirror, sacking an LED, still 1 card in the hand. I am going to force this pitching Ponder. I don't think I need more card selection here, and if their last card in hand is either backup Beseech or Veil of Summer, either way I have another force, and they're down to 1 card. And Tendrils isn't quite lethal. Alright, sweet. Force pitching, Lorien revealed. Now they're Hellbent. Cool. We navigated that. They did have it, though. That was cool. I'm going to Surgical Extract their Beseeches. Or I should probably do that in their draw step. Now the question is, Uro or Yorion actually better, and can I do both? A blue, green. Sure, green. Here's Uro. I still have 2 land drops available this turn. 1, 2. And then if I cast Yorion, it draws 4 cards. Yes, please. Or no, it draws 5 cards because I also have Abundant Growth down here. Crazy business. Oh yeah. We're in full bean party now. Crazy bean mode. Draw 3 cards, don't mind if I do. Found a Force of Vigor, Collector, oof. Alright, we found just every busted card in the deck. 1, 2, 3. Discard all my fetch lands. Stop in your draw step. And I'd like to take a look at your Beseech the Mirrors. Oh, they're just scooping. Alright, cool. That was gnarly. And my opponent actually didn't have a Thoughtseize or Veil. We did see their whole hand at the end of that, so they were right to wait that long to play around Force. And they did eventually present a lethal line through a single Force. But by then, I was too far up the beanstalk for it to matter. Let's go. I liked that a lot. You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7 Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7 Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7 Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better. I'm on the play in round 2 with a hand that has 6 lands and 4 Aerlingus. There are matchups I would keep this in, but I don't know if this is one of them, so I'm going to mulligan it. Oh yeah. Beans. I'm going to keep this, and I think I have to put back one of the beans. I'm sad about it. But that's gone. Run out Xander's Lounge and pass. I don't have green yet, but these double brainstorms hopefully will fix that. Volcanic Island Ponder. Okay. Chose to shuffle. Interesting. Now I have a choice. I can crack off this Wasteland and try to cheese the whole game, or I can play like a responsible blue control deck and use Wasteland for colorless mana, or just brainstorm it away. If this is Delver and they just waste me back, I lose on that exchange. I think I'm just going to Tundra pass here. If I knew this was Jeskai control, I would probably Wasteland there, but I don't know that. Prismatic Ending, or Prismatic Vista, really interesting here. Oh, Leovold. Now I'm extra interested in that green source. Still didn't get there. Bummer. Okay. Put back Atraxa. Or no, I want to keep Atraxa. Put back Leo and Beanstalk. And now I am going to waste them because I just have nothing else going on. Brainstorm from the opponent as well. Yeah, the thing about Prismatic Vista decks is they're built not to get wastelanded, so when you do get to wasteland them frequently, it's devastating. Even if it's just one, even if they still have a couple lands around. Okay, they didn't shuffle. I'm drawing Leovold here. Or no, Leo's on top. I'm just going to put Yorion in my hand. I'm under no pressure. I want to make sure this brainstorm doesn't end up locked. I want the Leovold. Still holding Force of Will. We're making progress here. A brainstorm. If we hit the green source, I can play Leo right now with Force backup. Nice. Okay, that's good stuff. I think that this Wasteland should go away. And boy, do I love Uro. Do I think Green Sun Zenith is better than Up the Beanstalk? It's crazy that that's a question I'm asking, but I think it's legitimate. I could keep Uro to pitch to Force and then Zenith for another Uro. Yeah, I think Atraxa is actually the thing to go back here. Kind of a boring answer, but it does check out. Green, blue, black. Big Leo. Counterspell. Force pitching Uro. Okay, Leo's in there. Even if they plow him right away, I get to draw a card off of that. Kind of wish I had curved Beanstalk into this, because then that Force would have cantripped as well. But you can't have everything. It's a stupid rule, but it's mostly true. What is this, a Plains? I can't even tell what this card is. Supreme Verdict, bummer. That is the way that you deal with Leo without getting 2-for-1. Ramanap Excavator. I was just going to say maybe I should Zenith for Excavator here, and there it is. I'm going to play this and Wasteland them. Or I'm going to get Force of Willed. Alright, Force pitching Dress Down. Fair enough. That was handled. Ponder has been cast. Narset Parter Veils. That's a bummer. Guess I Zenith for Grist here. and start trying to answer that thing. Having up the Beanstalk in the place of Ice Fang Coatl in this list, which is the replacement that I made, is makes Grist worse. Now I know they have Force in hand. Do I want it to cost them a blue card as well? I could just cast Yorion here, but then any Swords to Plowshares in their hand would be good. I think I still just try to get Grist. That was an annoying thing for them to find. Oh wow, Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. They had it anyway. Kinda, maybe. Ice Fang Coatl's also better against Narset than up the Beanstalk is, or at least on the front. Anything I cast on my opponent's turn is still pretty good with up the Beanstalk. They're rebuying Counterspell. They're turtling up. They do need a hammer, like a Days Undoing or a Back to Basics, that kind of thing, for me to be super worried here. Or, yep, the One Ring, that qualifies. And cast it with counter backup, sure. Okay, they had the thing. I gotta stop saying words. They did dig with it with Narset. It's not like they just didn't have it. Or it's not like they just ripped it, but still. I'm gonna play my Beanstalk. Just invest in the future. Leyline Binding, hitting the ring or hitting the Narset on their turn is really good for me. If they forget they have Narset and just counterspell this, that's a good deal. Okay. Now I just have to hope their ring kills them, I guess. Not a good plan. Snow-covered mountain. This is definitely a back to basics deck. Teferi. This can bounce and reset the ring, so they're never going to die to it. I probably should have fetched Dryad Arbor in the end step to try to attack Narset. Alright, I'm not winning this game. Okay. We're against Jeskai Control. I like the Pyroblasts. I like the Carpet of Flowers. I think I like the Veils. They showed me actual counterspell, so I'm in for that. Force of Vigor and Seeds of Innocence don't destroy the One Ring. It is not destructible. Swords to Plowshares can probably take a big chill. Solitude can chill even more. I still have removal in the deck, even without these specific dedicated type things. Collector Oof doesn't matter. Oh, they have Ring. Never mind. Come back in, Oof. I'm sorry. I take it back. Do I even need one Swords to Plowshares? Do I just go 6 plow effects out? Because I still have Binding, Ending, and my counter spells. Yeah, I like that, I think. Let's go. I have a bunch of basics. I can prioritize fetching them if I'm worried about Blood Moon. Also, Carpet of Flowers can break out of it. Alright, I got a bunch of lands and interactive spells here. I am going to keep. The Loam is a sweet one to get going here. That means I don't have to cycle Yorion Revealed. I can keep it as a blue spell or a Yorion Revealed even. I'm going to lead on the Misty. I don't expect my opponent to suddenly Thoughtseize me, but Veil of Summer is available. Not going to fetch now. I am going to fetch now, get basic. They did show me Force of Negation game 1. I just hope they don't have it right now or don't think it's worth the interaction. Cool. Alright, I can play Leovold next turn. Though I probably want to save until I can Veil to protect it. I think I draw this turn and then Dredge Loam next, if I don't find land number 4. Force of Will. Cool. And now Xander's Lounge makes Leyline Binding a 1-drop. Fetch for Xander's Lounge. Dredge the Loam. Only hitting 1 land off that Loam is a bummer. But I'll still try to take it. Okay, I'm in there with Force, blue card, and Veil of Summer to fight over my Leo. Brainstorm in the end step, you got it. I can easily and effectively Leyline Bind a Back to Basics. It will be a little tougher to get a Blood Moon. Narset, Parter of Veils. I can try to answer her. Yeah, I think I'd rather answer her on the board with Binding. And I'll just do it now. I have Veil back up. I haven't drawn a card yet. Take that away. I responded to the activation so they couldn't dig for answers, but maybe I'm supposed to wait. I'm just going to draw here. I'm not trying to do dredge stuff. Cool. All right, found a land. Not exactly a good land, but I'm not going to complain. Wasteland and then green, black, blue. I'm holding up Veil and Force still. This Veil's going to be really important versus this Teferi, Because if Teferi bounces Leyline, they reset in our set. That's tough. But I can win most fights here. If they force this, I force back. Okay. They let that resolve. Genuinely can't tell if this is a mountain or plains. It's a mountain. Now they're suddenly fetching 2 white sources. If they have the Verdict here, that's not Verdict mana. All right. I'm going to force this. They're probably going to Red Blast. Then I'm going to Veil and hope that I win the fight. And I'm going to get Tropical Island here. I don't want another basic island ever. But there is a cool trick here. I can play around something like Spell Pierce Flusterstorm by wastelanding their Flooded Strand. And I think I am going to do that. Alright, so I Veil in response. If it was forced they had the whole time, this doesn't matter. But right now they can't soft permission me. Okay, so that resolved. I don't know if that was necessary. Maybe I just threw a wasteland in the graveyard. Okay, they had Swords to Plowshares. I would like to draw a card. Drawing a bunch of lands here. I used the wasteland because they had Loam going and it's all good. And then I drew a bunch of lands anyway. I would really love an Up the Beanstalk. I'm not going to Dredge Loam, just trying to spike one of my 2 Uros. I'd rather give myself a chance to draw a spell. That's kind of a spell. Yorion to the hand. And pass the turn. Brainstorm unlocked because Leo's gone now. Did get that 2-for-1 off Leo though. Veil drew a card, Leo drew a card. Everything that can draw a card did so. They do have a Blood Moon. I'm going to fetch basic planes just in time. That's fine. I'm holding the Prismatic Ending that answers that. Leyline Binding also answers it, but I'd rather end it. Boseiju also answers it. Maybe I should Boseiju it actually. Because Prismatic Ending can get Planeswalkers. And Boseiju only gets pretty specific stuff. And I have Loam going, so whatever. We're just going to go into their turn. Alright, they got nothing. Boseiju in the end step. I imagine we'll see another basic mountain here. Or basic island. That's what I meant. Another ending. I have many answers. I'm not shoving Yorion until it's worth at least 1 card on the ETB. Volcanic Island. I don't think I'm in the Dredge Loam business, even if I now have a target for Wasteland. Grist is a card with text. I'll wait on that, though. Yeah, we're just playing some Draw Go. I am going to Dredge Loam this time. I would just like to hit my land drops if we're settling into Draw Go. And between Boseiju and Wasteland, I've got a bunch of cool techie lands I can play around with. You never really know if they need land number 6, 7, and beyond. But I'm set up to deal with it now, no matter what it is. Hull Breacher, okay. Right here in the main phase, where I can Prismatic Ending it. I'm going to consult my deck and make sure I have another white source I can get here. Alright, yeah, this Savannah is around. White, green, black. If they have Counterspell and Days Undoing and Force of Will all in their hand, they can thread the needle here, but they do have to get through 2 removal spells in the Hull Breacher. Force Pitching Beastorm, okay. I guess I'll pass then. Ponder from the opponent. Ponder did not shuffle, and then they played a land. Sure. I'm just going to go to my turn and Prismatic Ending this thing again. I want to save my instance. Yo, big money. Okay. It's Misty Rainforest. White, green, black. Another Prismatic Ending. That's gone. Fetch for basic island and then invest in Uro. Leaving up the Leyline Binding. Another Hull Breacher. Okay. That's why I left up Leyline Binding. Get rid of that, please. Uro, trigger, don't Dredge Loam. Don't put Boseiju into play. And I'm just going to pass. Alright, they have 2 cards in their hand. They did keep them off a Ponder and didn't shuffle that Ponder. I kind of hope there's... No, they would have shoved Days Undoing there. I was going to say I hope there's a Days Undoing in their hand that now doesn't do anything, but I think they would have put it into play. Green, green, blue, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think it matters what's in my graveyard other than for Loam. I don't have a Snapcaster, I don't have an Endurance. Okay, there's Uro, and if I play Boseiju, I think there's just basic island left that I can fetch with this Flooded Strand. Yeah, okay. But Boseiju's my green source that could get Grist into play here. But Xander's Lounge is also my red source. I think I have to just ponder and not play Grist this turn. 4th Airlingus. Don't mind if I do. Okay. Do not shuffle. Do not dredge loam. Pass the turn. And we're chilling. I know there is a Mystic Sanctuary in their deck. That got Swords to Plowshares. That's fine. That is not something I'm worried about right now. I could also Pyroblast my own Uro, put it back in the graveyard, and air quotes counter this. But with 4th Airlingus in hand, but once again, I'm on 1 red source. Top card of my deck is also good, right? Yeah, Raminap. Okay. Yeah. All right. This can get me another red source. Misty can get Taiga. And if they spend counter magic on this, I'm okay with it. Force of Will. All right, I mean, I do still like my Raminap. Misty Rainforest, get Taiga. And I don't think I'm playing around anything here. I could play around Spell Pierce by making 1 horse, but I'm going in. I would like to be the Monarch, and I would like to end this game. Cool. That happened. Yep, done. All right. Classic Yorion Beanith deck outmuscling a normal blue control deck. And this is still my plan. Flusterstorm hits their interaction, but it doesn't hit their win cons, the Planeswalkers, the One Ring. Yeah, I'm not interested in that over something like Force of Negation. And the removal all came up really well. The non-creature permanent removal. Big time. But we did see 2 Hull Breachers that game to be aware of. I don't think it's enough to bring a Plow back in. I still have 10 removal spells for that thing. Perfect hand. Keep it. And we confirmed that it's Blood Moon that they have, not Back to Basics. Decks rarely have both. I'm just going to growth onto a basic forest here, get myself set up. Kind of hope they do Spell Pierce this. I have another one. I got lands to make. I don't even care. And then I'm going to make the same play next turn. Collector Oof someday. I'm going to use the forest that's about to be growth in order to growth, because if they do counter it, I want to make sure I have 5 colors available. Neat. I have enough land drops to make here. I'm not really in the business of Zenith for Dryad Arbor. It's a Fairy Time Reveler. I'm not really set up for this. It does blank 2 cards in my hand. Yeah, I'm going to force pitching Lorien. I think Brainstorm is a better tool here. Well, we're going to get none of it. Force pitching Brainstorm. Really aggressive early exchange from this control mirror in general. Like both of us just sort of went in on that. Up the Beanstalk. Interesting. I'm kind of worried about them just shoving the One Ring next turn. We've also seen Supreme Verdict in their deck, so dumping out Oof plus Arbor might be tough. I think I'm in for it, though. There's no other 2-drop in my deck. Yeah, Oof is the one that I could Zenith for. I also like the idea of having multiple pieces of pressure for Planeswalkers that might come down. Okay, there's that. I can attack a Narset. I can, even if they bounce something, I can attack it to Fairy. Supreme Verdict is the ultimate punish here. Yep, there's Narset. She can receive combat damage. Wow, the activation. Okay. If they have a land and they're digging for Plow, this makes a lot of sense. If they're just like minus YOLO, I don't know if I like it. To Fairy in hand. Alright, looks like my plan to add enough pressure to the board to kill Narset was a good one. Attack Narset. And then I get to go up the Beanstalk and hold up Pyroblast. Beans. Oh, Wasteland ya. Uh-oh. You missed a land drop. You're a deck that's built to not get wasted. You just put a 3-drop in your hand. And now you're passing with no play. Send it. And this is the mountain. Not that you can tell by looking at it, but that is the mountain, which is really cool. I'm going to Uro, leaving up Pyroblast rather than attacking for an extra damage. Yeah, just Pyroblast the front half of it. Deal. That smells like they have another Pyroblast. Okay, they're passing again. All right, this is attack for 3, put Yorion in hand. And I have to fetch for a land that casts Uro. I guess I don't have to fetch at all. There's a Taiga in my deck. Yeah, last turn I pretty obviously left up 1 mana interaction. Uh-oh, there's the plains. I would love to draw a land here and be able to protect my Yorion when I go off. Veil of Summer. Not quite what I was looking for. It's not bad, though. I'm going to attack with Oof. I'm going to respect the possibility of Surprise Hull Breacher. Alright, plowing that, sure. I think Patience is the way forward here. This Yorion is going to be good for 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, plus the Yorion itself. Don't even care about that Collector Roof, really. Now I'm in kind of an interesting spot, because I can fetch and shove Uro, but I'm shoving it right into the Pyroblast that I think they do have. I'm just going to pass. Just tapping out with Pyroblast and Veil of Summer active against an opponent who's struggling seems like a way to just give them a line back into the game. They found land number 4. Can I find land number 5? 4th Aerlingus. That doesn't get Pyroblasted if I spend 2 cards on it, or 2 mana on it. Once again, this is a spell I'd like to spend 4 on, or spend 5 on. That also draws me a card if I'm patient. I'm going to keep waiting. They're fetching before they cast whatever their 3-drop is. They just spent 3 mana, then untapped it. Teferi. Counter target spell if it's blue. Do I care about this? Is the question, because I have this prismatic ending. I am just going to counter Teferi. Or try to. If they force back, the Veil of Summer is a giant blowout. Nice. Force pitching Days Undoing. Veil. They left up Pyroblast for this whole exchange, which does not counter any of my cards. Found land number 5 now that it doesn't really matter anymore, though it does matter in the sense that they just left up Pyroblast and not anything else. I'm going to jam a full horse 4th Aerlingus here. Maximum horses. I think their interaction is Pyroblast, and I would like to make them dead. Also, I get a cantrip. White, red, 1, 2, 3. If their hand is force blue card, this is a great deal for me. If it's not, they're probably dead. Sick. I've got 2 answers in my hand to a Hull Breacher, which is their best way to slow down the Monarchy. Haven't even reached for that Uro in my graveyard yet. No, it's there. Now I have force back up. Oh, I could let them have this for a turn. Oh no, they're fucking dead. They're at 3. Yeah, I'm going to counter this so they don't have protection from everything. And I get to draw a card. Yeah, if they weren't dead on board, I don't think I would fight over this. But they are. Beans! You can't stop Bean leaving. Don't stop Bean leaving. There's a good one in there somewhere. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round number 3. My hand has a Beanstalk in it. We go. Opponent said they're testing a brew and they're a fan of the content. Everyone say hi. Let's see what kind of brew we're on. Are we on Beseech the Mirror? Or are we on, like, actual brew? Okay, Grief Pitching Opposition Agent. Guess I can F6 from here. They're going to see my hand and know what's going on. Took my Abundant Growth. Okay. Interesting. Well, probably the right call. Okay, so we have seen with our very eyes Opposition Agent. How hard do I want to play around that for the rest of the game? I could just fetch now, though they can't just sit on Dark Ritual forever. At some point they'll blink and I'll get a spell in. Castle Locthwain, what's up, Pioneer? Big fan. And if they just play like Voidwalker or some crap this turn, yeah, that gets plowed immediately, but they knew that. Do I want basic plains or do I want Tundra? I don't really have a line into blue mana otherwise. Taking that Abundant Growth did let me, did force me to not play on basics this game, so good call. But I'm about to get my beans going. Oh, that's cool. Later. First we bean Solitude. That triggers the beans. First appearance of that one. First time we're playing against a creature deck, too. Good time to show up. Multiple Castle Locthwain. Yikes. Thoughtseize. Boo. All right, would you like the 3 completely replaceable removal spells or the card that functions from my graveyard? Pretty bad Thoughtseize as far as Thoughtseizes go. If they have a non-creature permanent, taking the binding's actually kind of free money here. Swords to Plowshares. All right. Leovold. Well, it was my plan to fetch the Triome anyway. And now I have Solitude that can battle an opposition agent, so I'm not really worried about that happening. Don't really want it to happen, but I will happily spend 1 card on it. All right, there's that. Solitude. I draw a card. Not going to Dredge Loam, as tempting as that is. More beans? Yes, please. Okay, they're down to 1 card in their hand. I have all of my colors under me. If I Dredge Loam, I can go land Beanstalk, guaranteed, and hit my land drops for the next several turns. Or I could just shove Leovold now. Do I think Leovold matters against my opponent's strategy? And do I want to use Boseiju as a land drop? Good chance Boseiju matters here. I am not going to Dredge Loam. Okay. Hit a land drop anyway, which is perfect, because Leo is a legend to turn on Boseiju. This makes Castle Lochthwain a bit worse, and I'm not about to get Helm killed on short notice. Sheoldred's Edict, bummer. Alright, I'm going to respond with Boseiju. They're currently hellbent, taking out one of these castles, then I can loam up the Boseiju, take out the other castle, make them play on swamps next turn. And Sheoldred's Edict, of course, is the non-targeting one. Dredge Loam, pick up Boseiju, Flooded Strand. I think I just want a Beanstalk right now, rather than fight the castle immediately. If they want to spend their next turn drawing 1 card, I think I'm okay with that. Currently Thoughtseize and Grief Proof. Should probably just fetch, though, because if they rip Oppo Agent, I don't want to feel like a dingus. I have lots of green mana. Some more white would be nice. Do I think they're going to be messing with my lands? I'll just get Savannah. I think it's fine. I have Loam going. I don't care about Wasteland. Opponent asked if, when there are 2 Beanstalks, does the 1 Beanstalk get taller, or are you climbing 2 simultaneously? And I think I have like 1 in each hand, and I'm shimmying up the middle. Reanimate your Grief. Yep. Blank here. I think taking my Leovold's probably better than getting your Grief there on that Reanimate, if we are all on the same team, just hanging out. Not going to Dredge Loam. I would like some spells. Force of Will. I'm going to put Yorion in my hand, and I'm going to hit the Castle Lochthwain. I just don't want them drawing more cards. I want me drawing more cards. And if I have to force anything, beans. Fistful of beans. And if they don't make me force anything, Yorion's drawing 4 next turn. Oh, baby. I even drew a blue card. Not that that's how I ever want to use my dear friend, Burrow. Fistful of beans, bird full of beans. Go, my mighty bean bird. 4th Aerlingus, that wins the game next turn. Flicker the beans. God damn it. Exile the beans, and they will return at the end of my end step. Alright, they are killing my Yorion. I don't care. That was a 5 for 1. I'll take it. I'm gonna get Crazy Horsey next turn. I still have Force Blue card if I need to do anything crazy here. Yeah, this is gonna take my Aerlingus. I'll just draw some cards here. Then horse their face off next turn. Force Blue card, drew Force Blue card off my Beanstalk. This is insane. Absolute madness. Okay, they can't Opposition Agent and Dark Ritual with 1 card in their hand. Fetch Island, fetch Plains, and go to my turn. I'm going to tap out for a giant pile of horses, back it up with Force of Will. I'll leave back enough blockers that they can't take the Monarch. Red, white, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Draw 2 cards also, by the way. This endgame is nuts. I know I keep saying that, but it keeps happening. Big horses, draw lots of cards. I'm going to attack with 4 of them. They just now realized, or it just now said in the chat, they should have grabbed Leovold with Reanimate. I concur. I actually think I attack with 3 horses. I don't want to have to Force of Will a, like, Snuff Out or some stupid thing. And I have so much going on here it really doesn't matter. Just brick the grief entirely and take 0 risks. That's the phase of the game I'm in. And we did it. That was so freaking bonkers. Okay, we're against some kind of mono black magic cards strategy. Veil of Summers come in. I like Forces. I'm not sure about Force of Negation. Collector, oof. We didn't see Helm, but that doesn't mean it's not in the deck. In fact, I think it's likely it is in the deck. We did also see Reanimates, but not really Reanimator, just Reanimate. Do I have 4 cards I want to cut here? My deck already seems pretty well set up for what's going on here. Maybe Force of Negation. That's a pitch spell that most of what we saw was creatures. I like all my X spells. I like all my win the game effects. I like the Beanstalk. All right, Collector Roof, I'm off it. I have a bunch of other answers to Helm, if that's what they're doing. Excavator actually does look good. We saw multiple Castle Lock Dwaynes, and we do have Wasteland to loot. Maybe I cut Atraxa. Like, my top end's already bonkers. Maybe Atraxa shouldn't even be in this deck. Up the Beanstalk kind of replaces the entire functionality of this. If you have Natural Order to get it down quicker, maybe that's one thing, but not super interested here. And maybe I don't need 2 Surgicals. Yeah, that's fine. All right, let's do it like this. Just light sideboarding. Deck's already basically built to chew this up. The Cursed Taiga. I would keep this hand if Taiga was Island. Do I keep it anyway is the question. Any land starts beaning. Abundant Growth is a redraw. I'm going to keep it. We're against a dedicated discard strategy. Like, I really don't want to find just like a 5 I'm cool with. I want to just have more cards when the dust settles than my opponent. If there's a land in my top 2 cards, we're fine here. Also, Abundant Growth is fine. Also, Greenstone Zenith gets me Dryad Arbor. We're getting scammed. They see my 1-lander. The Grief pitched another Grief this time. Took my Force. This is where I draw Tundra and just laugh my way to the bank. If they ritual out an Oppo right now, it would be really smart, because then it cuts off a ton of draws in my deck. Thoughtseize, alright. Probably losing my Beanstalk here. My Ponder, okay, that's fair. I guess Ponder is pretty good. It's like up the Beanstalk, but smaller. Draws fewer cards. We're in the Taiga Beanstalk Keep era. Easy. So easy. Why does anyone ever mulligan? Now my whole hand is basically online, or at least the plows are. It's going to buy me a lot of time against this deck, unless they suddenly have like a big Grizzlebrand pivot or something. But if this is just black mid-range creatures, I'm feeling okay here. Cycling a Troll. They know I can plow that. Swamp, Reanimate, sure. I understand they're a creature deck, and they probably got to work through my plows, but I would be tempted to remove the Beanstalk there. Oh, alright, that makes more sense. Now all my plows are gone. Sure. Okay, time to draw a land and get my beans going. Also, a fetch land does cast Leyline Binding, because I can get Tundra, which now Binding costs 2, and that's the number I have. And they just conveniently took 2 cards that aren't lands out of my deck. Got them. Played into my hands. Uh-oh. Or I could try another 6-drop. I'll just pass the turn. Thoughtseize. Now the Beanstalk's gonna go. It's gotta. We've reached that phase of the game. And is your last card also Reanimate? It is. Alright, you're at 4. If I draw Tundra or a route to Tundra, I actually feel fine here. Alright, Zenith for Dryad Arbor is happening. Okay, now any white source works, because that'll be 3 land types. Any plains gives me 3 land types, and I have 3 mana to spend. Taking 9 here is rough. I really wanted to answer that thing last turn. I wonder if they're mono black Shadow. They certainly beat up their life total really hard to get to this point. That could be incidental or part of a grand design. Thoughtseizing me again. Okay. Taking Uro. Now they're at 2. Oh, you're in trouble. Rip the plains, Leyline Binding. Get rid of this troll. And now they attack me to 5. I attack them to 1. They attack me to 2. They're dead. I'm winning the race if nothing else happens. Oh yeah, don't even pump those brakes. Just come in. Come at me. Leovold, who I cannot cast. I could put them to 1, or I could just bind the Grief. I think binding the Grief is smarter. Maybe I'm a coward, but I still win this game in 2 turns anyway. And black is not known for its enchantment removal. Swamp Go. Bowmasters, that's really heckin' good right now. Alright. Okay. I wonder if they had that last turn, and that's why they attacked with Grief, but I didn't fall for it. Okay, Plains just doesn't cast Leovold in any universe. Alright, I'm gonna fetch and put Yorion in my hand. What am I looking for here? What are my outs? Yeah, this Plains is jacking me right up, because I can't Uro with the Plains, I can't Leo with the Plains. And I didn't fetch this, it's not really like my doing that it's in play, but boy does it suck now that it's here. Okay, I suspect they're gonna get away with this one by like 1 turn. 1 good draw, 1 Orcish Bowmasters was the difference between winning and losing here. Maybe they'll Thoughtseize. Could even reanimate Dryad Arbor for no life loss. Busted. Yeah, I'm at 2. There's no plows in my deck. Prismatic Ending is still in there. Xander's Lounge, that kills me. Alright. That was super tight. It came down to me keeping a Bonehead 1-lander. But actually, that 1-lander, if that land showed up 1 turn before it did, we're actually fine. That game was really close. Too close for how bad my hand was. Oh, hold up. I think I like Plague Engineer better than Surgical Extraction, just naming Orc. I have 81 cards right now, but I had to click submit just to make sure Magic Online didn't resubmit my other version. Is there a cut before we step away from this? Probably should not present 81 if I can avoid it. Grist actually seems really good. Uro is the ultimate beater. Yeah, whatever. 81 cards, run it. 2 lands this time. Nobody can stop me. I'm keeping my hand. This is a basic forest, abundant growth start, and we're off to the races. I'm still waiting for my opponent to reveal the busted half of their deck, whether it is Helm combo, whether they have Beseech the Mirror stuff going on, maybe they have a bigger reanimate target, like a Grizzlebrand or Archon of Cruelty or something in there, but so far we've just seen kind of fair, minorly disruptive creature dinguses. Life from the Loam, never missing a land drop now. Just gonna go up my Beanstalk here. Oh, Halfling is nice. It's not better than Beanstalk. Important to note that the draw is not optional. If I were to get Bowmastered and then cast a 5-drop, they're gonna get a ping out of it. It was nice in my hand to play around Opposition Agent. I'm holding Solitude, which does get the trigger here. Cycle to Troll in my end step. Dothi Voidwalker. Prismatic Ending kills that. Unless they grief me now, in which case I'll have to pitch Solitude and answer it. Okay, pitching Sheoldred. Exile 4th Aerlingus or Prismatic Ending. And they're going to take whichever one I don't exile here, so I'll just keep my horses around, I guess. That's the one I'd rather play next turn. And I have to make sure I stack this correctly. I want to exile first before Solitude ends up in the void. And then I get griefed. Happy to see that Sheoldred go. But that means it was the worst black card in their hand. That's kind of spooky. I think they have to take 4th Aerlingus here, because if I just draw a land and make 1 horse and become the Monarch, they're so dead. Yep, they would have been dead. Okay. I am going to... I can get Halfling into play, or I can Brainstorm and actually have a good time right now. I'm going to Brainstorm. Likely going to put back Halfling and Arbor. Definitely Arbor. And it's actually going to be Island, because the whole point of this line is just being set up for life on land drops. Island. I could also Beanstalk here. Let's get another one of those ready to go. Don't really want them to mess with my graveyard, though. Alright, I'll just make the safe investment here. And if they want to, like, Bowmaster me in my next turn in response to Beanstalk, I have Prismatic Ending to handle that. I don't currently have an instant speed answer to Oppo Agent, but I don't need one. Oh my goodness. Ha 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 ha! Beans! Beans! The musical fruit. If their hand is exactly Orcish Bowmaster Dark Ritual Oppo Agent right now? That sucks. Okay. That's fine. I was prepared to play around that anyway. I'm going to play the Delighted Halfling, and I can Prismatic Ending that next turn if I still have Prismatic Ending in my hand, and if not, I could just play another Beanstalk, continue drawing cards until I find an answer to it. All the beans are here. Okay, they edicted my Halfling. That's fine. What I don't really want right now is Thoughtseize. Anything else is fine. Wasteland doesn't matter. Or it matters a little bit, I guess. Now I don't have 3 mana to get the Oppo. But I can Dredge Loam and just replay Taiga. Okay, I am going to draw for turn. I have a lot of removal in my deck. Going to give myself a chance to draw some of it. And then I'm going to go up the Beanstalk. Again. I'm not going to Dredge Loam. There's Swords to Plowshares. They have 1 card in their hand. Let's get another on tap step. And then cast any 5-drop to Ancestral Recall my way up out of here. Force of Will is actually card advantage at this point. I wish I had a blue card. Lock the Wayne, whatever. I am still not going to Dredge Loam here. Unless they play a second Oppo in their main phase, then I will Dredge Loam to get my Taiga guaranteed. Bowmasters is in. Okay. Tough crowd. I'm not going to Dredge Loam. Loam can save me 1 draw off of the Bowmaster business. They plow the Oppo. Unfortunately, I can't Zenith for Plague Engineer, which is what I actually want to do with my life here. I have a 5-color land. I think I just focus on lands that can cast Uro now. Oh, wow. Zenith for Leovold here. Leovold is actually crazy. You may draw a card, so that is optional. But if they target Leo with anything, I draw a card. Then they can target Leo with Bowmaster, and then I can just like draw cards until they're done killing Leo. That's wild. Zenith 3 is as high as my Zeniths functionally get, so I might as well grab the Xander's Lounge. Or wait, 1, 2, 3. No, 4. I do need this now. It drops in. Do I care about Bayou? That gets Grist. Oh, Grist is actually good here. I'm going to Zenith 4 Grist and just start putting some 1/1s in the way. Yeah, I'll just get Savannah. Wait. I could also just ending the Bowmaster and be done with that. I can do that next turn. I'm going to Grist now. So if I had ending to the Bowmaster, then next turn I can Zenith for 5 total mana. And maybe I should have ended that. Yeah, that might have been a bit of a strategic error. Yeah, they played a land, then activated Lockthwain. They have 1 mana to do stuff with right now. Orc Army is attacking me. I'm going to trade with this. This takes my creature out of play that kills Bowmaster, but my plan is to Prismatic Ending Bowmaster and then put Yorion in my hand for force, and then plus Grist. And I'm just set up to do everything forever. Ending white-blue. Get rid of that. Plus Grist. And put Yorion in my hand. Force of Will is Ancestral Recall now, in addition to anything else it might do. And opponent is digging with Castle Lockthwain. Also, Grist just randomly milled one of my 2 Uros. The Stone Cold Nuts is what we call that. Grief. I don't think I care about Grief. I only care about Grief if they reanimate Yorion and then also take my force. Alright, Grief resolves. With Uro in my graveyard, I struggle to be concerned about that. They did take my Yorion. They did not immediately reanimate it. Swords to Plowshare is good stuff. I could minus Grist to just pick off the Grief. I'm going to start with Uro, see where that goes. And I'm actually going to exile the Yorion and the Solitude from my graveyard. I don't want them finding good targets for reanimate in there. Exiling other stuff that I wouldn't like Surgical as well. Come on, blue card. Blue card. Zenith. Alright. I actually do have a blue card in my hand I can correct as my Uro if I need to. And I'm going to just kill Grief by sacking the insect here. Why leave them with anything when I could leave them with nothing and still have all my cards in my hand? Zenith for a zillion next turn draws 3 cards. Another Grief. I'm certainly not going to bounce Uro to counter that. I will plow it though, leaving 2 more 5-cost cards in my hand. I gotta take the Zenith. And now they're in the squeeze of die to Uro, and also you know your next spell is getting Forcestral recalled. And I have Solitude. Milled a Veil of Summer with Grist. Uro gets in. Opponent is in some trouble here, it's safe to say. One card in hand versus basically my whole deck in mine. Effectively, once everything is all counted up. I think their best line here is to play something that I have to counter for 3 or less mana, and then respond to my force with Bowmaster, and then they lose to Solitude, but still, that would be kind of the sequence that I can imagine caring about. Don't know what that could be, though. Like, Entomb Reanimate here doesn't check all the boxes it needs to. I could end step Solitude just to draw 3, but I think that's bad. That opens up Bowmaster and all sorts of stuff that I don't want happening to me. I'm going to go to combat first and use the Uro trigger to put in Wasteland in case I end up drawing cards this turn. Then I have a normal land drop available as well. Put this Wasteland in. I'm going to set a stop in the end of combat. I want to destroy Castle Lochthwain here before it really does anything else, and I don't want them to have access to mana in my main phase, just in case that matters. Alright, they're just thwaining out here, down to 12 life, plus the Grist, and pass with a handful of removal. I can't imagine losing this game, but I'm inviting my opponent to try. I hope they have something very cool. Opposition Agent. So this is, I guess, the thing that they think they're baiting me with Bowmaster on. Unfortunately for them, I have Solitude, and I can just answer both of the things while drawing 6. Reanimate targeting Grief. I am going to force this, paying the alternate cost, because I want to hardcast Solitude and just make them very dead. We got the GGs. I would concede to this too. Raminap, Leyline Binding, and Misty Rainforest that draws off that. Binding also hits thing, draws 3. What an engine. On to the next one. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.event/subscribe. On the play for round number 4, Island Ponder Keep. Let's go. Triple Leyline Bindings a lot, but I like Leovold. I am finding one fetch land away from deploying that. And I know what my hand needs, and the answer is lands, so let's find them. There's Tundra. I like Brainstorm. I don't like Plow. Tundra actually doesn't cast Leovold, though, not with basic Island. So we're no closer to casting Leo than we were a second ago, but Brainstorm is cool. Should fix up a bunch of these problems. At least I hope so. That's the goal. Ponder no shuffle from the opponent. I'm going to Brainstorm. I'm going to play around Days with it. Dryad Arbor sucks, and I don't need all 3 Leyline Bindings. Upgrade a Leyline Binding into a Plow. Binding's really good against Show and Tell, if that's what my opponent's doing. That's actually really funny. Oh, Zagoth Triome, Volcanic Island. Are we in some sort of Beanstalk mirror? I need green with this Flooded Strand, so I actually can't go for the thing that I want here. I grab Savannah. I can't get the Lounge. That's what I'm trying to spit out. Flooded Strand doesn't fetch Bayou, but what I can do is Uro into this land drop that gets the Lounge for next turn. And then I'm set up on both Leo and Binding. I can actually do both. Windswept Teeth does get Bayou, but doesn't get Lounge. So just going to run it like that. We're about to see what my opponent is about here. They're about to Teferi Time Raveler. Okay. Minus to just draw a card. Fair enough. End step, get the Lounge. Play my land, and then I want to bind first. Hold 1 mana Binding. Get rid of this Teferi, I hope. Because I'm actually more interested in resolving Leovold if they fight over one thing here. Okay, that's out. Leovold, question mark. Gotta fight over this if you can. This card's so dumb. Alright, we're in there. Let's see if it just gets Supreme Verdicted again. This is not Supreme Verdict mana. It is Minsc and Boo mana. Okay, so Minsc and Boo resolves. I can bind it immediately. I don't think I want basic planes, though that is the only fetchable white source left here. Yeah, I do have the rest of them in play already. Okay, well, then I want basic planes. Leyline Binding. Another one. Okay, they did have the Force the whole time, and they saved it for this. Sure. Pitching Brainstorm, a card that does not work with Leovold in play. Makes sense. And now they're just hamming it up. Leaving it on defense. Good stuff. My hand has removal in it. Yeah, I fetch basic Forest here. Then I've got green, green, blue, blue for Uro. Here comes Uro. That's bigger than Boo. Put in Flooded Strand. Oh, I can just kill Minskin Boo if I need to. I'm going to plow the Boo and attack with Leovold, though. Yeah, I couldn't fetch black that turn, but Grist is a nice answer to Minskin Boo eventually, if we end up needing that. I don't like their 3 cards in hand, but I do like my Leovold Uro. These are 2 of the most powerful legends ever printed, both in play right now, under my control. Swords to Plowshare is targeting Leo. I would like to draw a card, thank you. The Force of Will. Okay, Leo's gone. Now they can unlock their cantrips and other removal. Did not shuffle. Hate that. Yeah, if they have a second to Fairy here, that sucks ass. Prismatic Ending sucks ass too. Swords of Plowshares also sucks ass. A lot of ass was just sucked. If I draw a Forest, I can still remove Minskin Boo this turn. It's not too late. Or not a Forest, a fetch land that gets Forest. Sorry, that is not what I meant to say. A target plains with Abundant Growth. Get 1 rebuy here. Fetch land. Oh, could still happen. Ponder. 4th Air Lingus. Interesting. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I can smash Minskin Boo. Okay. Really hope they don't have a counterspell here. Red, white, 1, 2, 3. And by attacking a Planeswalker, the Monarch is not introduced to the game. Attack all creatures at Minskin Boo Timeless Heroes. They get to block 1 of these for free. They get a 4/4. I get 2 2/2s. There's no Monarch in the game. Their Planeswalker's gone. And then I can Grist next turn to kill the Boo as we race towards stability. Yeah, I don't actually want them to have the Monarch, not even for 1 second, because I'm a Yorion deck. I have top end still coming, and they're into top deck mode. If I draw a land here, I can protect Grist with Hardcast Force. Oh, Solitude, I like that. That might be better than Grist even. They got 5 cards in hand, or they have 1 card in hand and more than 5 mana up, so I have to think about Force of Will. Between Grist and Solitude, which would I rather have in play if this game goes multiple more turns from here? I can just put Yorion in my hand and then play Grist with counter backup, if that's how I want to do this. Black, green, colorless. Now, if they fight, I can decide to fight back, or Grist can just resolve. Sacrifice a creature. When I do, destroy target creature. And then the final horse gallops. 4th Aer Lingus. Yorion pitches to Solitude and Force. Just got everything covered. Mystic Sanctuary. Picking up an emergency Ponder here. Deal. I love when Mystic Sanctuary has to be just an above average top deck and not actually the nut spell that you wanted. Great spot to leave an opponent. Something like Boseiju is actually pretty wild here. That would kill my binding, get to Fairy bounces Horse. It's probably the best card they could have. Uro is fine. I'm not going to force the front half of that. I'm not going to Solitude the front half of that at a 2-card deficit either. If I could hardcast Solitude there, I probably would have done it. Prismatic Ending, Grist. Yeah, that's fine. I would love to draw up the Beanstalk. Beanstalk, Beanstalk, Beanstalk. Oh. Or just more horses. Now I'm pretty happy to introduce the Monarch to the game. How do you feel about taking 12 and I'm the Monarch? With Force backup. Yeah, they're just scooping. They have Uro in the graveyard. They don't even care. They're like, yeah, not a thing. Okay, a million color control mirror of sorts. They have Minskin Boo. Plague Engineer on Hamster is not irrelevant. Collector Oof is irrelevant. Swords to Plowshares is fine. Like, we saw arrows and stuff, but I don't need a million of those, and I have all this other removal. Pyroblast, worth having. Veil of Summer's in the maybe pile. I don't think I actually want that. I'm actually going to go down to 2 plows. Force of Negation for Minskin Boo is very interesting. Their Planeswalkers are the cool thing they're doing. Maybe it's 1 plow, no Atraxa, but this is the type of matchup where I could just reasonably cast Atraxa if the game goes long enough. and attracts that pitches to everything in my deck that wants pitching. Wasteland seems cracked in this particular matchup as well. The Loam Wasteland Ramonette package, very good. Maybe I just play 0 Plows. With 10 other exile-based removal spells in a control matchup, I think I'm okay with that. And 8 of the other ones get the Planeswalkers where the Plows themselves don't. Oh, my kingdom for a forest. Gotta mulligan this. But wow. Mulligan. Okay, this is basically the same hand. I guess I owe someone a kingdom. I'm going to bottom, I think, Leyline Binding. That's really far away from being useful. Flooded Strand pass. I'm going to basic forest growth it up. If they prismatic ending my growth, I have carpet to pick up the slack on that. I am holding a wasteland, which could collapse their Triome dual land mana base. I have a bunch of duels. I didn't see any from them. There's a ponder. Ooh, second wasteland. Do I want them to know that I have carpet, is the question. I guess I do. See if they want to fight over it. Then I can go to second main, float a blue. Not that that does anything, but it makes them think about what I might have. Wasteland, get your Tundra. Floated a blue for fun. Okay, double wasteland start. We'll see if they can wade their way through this. If they draw Loam before I do, then my wasteland plan's going to be terrible. But also possible. They just don't play this game. Zagoth Triome, okay. That's an island and a big tasty hit on wasteland. Please don't cast Loam right now. Ponder, okay. That's not Loam. Show me a shuffle. I would love to draw up the Beanstalk or my own Loam. Something to do for 2 mana would be insane here. Actually get carpet leveraged. They did not shuffle. Bummer. Draw for turn. Zenith. Okay. I am not going to use carpet now. I'm going to wasteland their Savannah. And then I'm going to go to second main and Zenith out the Hireling. Or not Hireling, whatever this thing is. Halfling. Make blue, green, Zenith. I left them with the island so I can leverage that with carpet, and they don't have any removal. Maybe I should have cut off their cantrips, but I kind of like the thing I did for the reasons I said. Force pitching Flusterstorm. Okay. Do they have lands to keep going here? They do. All right. This is where I draw my Loam and just win. Life from the Loam, one of in the deck. Oh, Leyline Binding. Oh, one of your own. Okay. Taking out my carpet. Sure. All right. Now I really want Loam. Island pass. There are not 6 colors in Magic, so there's no point at any, no matter how long this game goes, that I'll be able to exile that Leyline Binding. I do have Boseiju in my deck, but Boseiju undoes all that wasteland work I did. Did not shuffle. Still have not missed a land drop. What I can hope for now is that they had to use these cantrips to find land drops instead of actual spells that they wanted. I'm going to put Yorion in hand to back up this Force of Will I just drew. Just make sure I don't get cheesed by some Planeswalker. 4th Aerolingus. Alright, please don't have Force backup. Okay, that's handled. Life from the Loam. Ding, 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 ding. Surgicling Wasteland in response. Oh, that was a very good thing to have. Yeah, they were about to be dead. Okay, sure. Wastelands are out. I still hit a Misty Rainforest off this Life from the Loam. I'm still making my land drop. They get to see that my hand isn't very good. I can fetch Dryad Arbor if that matters. I don't think I'm going to fetch or dredge here. Just going to try to draw cards. Plague Engineer on Hamster. Just want to lock out that top deck that otherwise has me just completely dead. Uro. Speaking of completely dead. Mystic Sanctuary hit here. Picking up 4th Aerolingus probably. That's gross. Okay, now I probably lose to that. Unless I draw Forest right now. Yuck. Okay. 1, 2, 3. They get 3 horses. If I leave back a blocker, they have to commit at least 2 to attack. Alright, this is unfortunate. I can exile 2 of the horses, but they're going to have 3. And they only need to attack with 1 to actually get the Monarch. Maybe I should have left Plague Engineer back. Or no, it doesn't matter. I have 2 answers. I think in my head they were getting more horses than they actually are. I can also fetch a Dryad Arbor here to make sure I have an extra attacker. I don't really expect them to have, like, Solitude, but... Ooh, Beanstalk. I'm going to start with that, actually. In case I get more action off of it. That's in there. Now this game's getting good. And one of the horses and the other horse. They're thinking about a force here. Okay, they did force. I'm going to play Taiga and attack with both my creatures. They get to eat my Dryad Arbor for free, but at least I get the Monarchy, and we're going to have to poke it back and forth a little bit. Okay, Monarch achieved. Let's find some 5-drops. Boseiju, that is the thing I said. I don't know if it helps, but it's here. They should just attack with 1. Yep. Monarch back for you. Uro from the graveyard. Alright, this is starting to look pretty bad. I don't really want to give them more mana right now, but I think Boseiju on Leyline Binding, unlocking my Carpet, giving me the opportunity to cast many spells next turn, like 1 Ponder could just go nuts. Or I can hard cast a Solitude, draw another card, get going. I don't know. We'll see, but I feel like I'm falling behind here. Or if I draw my own 4th Aerlingus, I can just cast it for 150. Front and back of Uro. You see what I'm saying. Lots of reasons to do this. Come on, deck. Big draw. Ponder. That's a start. Do I make blue now? All right. Yes, I'm going to make blue, and then I'm going to cast this Ponder and hope they don't just Red Blast it and cut my dreams away from me. All right. My dreams. Engineer, get in. Yeah, they have an easy block with their horse. I'm cool being done with this one. Next game. Okay. So this is confirmed 100%. I guess I should have known from their Triomes game 1, but a Leyline Binding Mirror and Force of Vigor can crack those open. I'm looking at Yorion revealed. Maybe the Plague Engineer was too cute, and I just don't do that. All right, going in. The reason we lost that game is because Up the Beanstalk didn't get any extra cards. That's everything. Okay. I can Island Ponder here. I'm going to keep this hand. I think I Tropical Island Zenith. I would like to try to push mana advantage if I can. If I'm able to Ponder and cast a 2-drop next turn, like Ponder into Beanstalk or Ponder into Loam. It's all good stuff. Uro, I like that card. Please do not Pyroblast me. They didn't Pyroblast me. I did find a land, and I found my next land in Yorion Revealed. Caracas and attack for 1. Carpet from you this time. Hardly seems fair, though I did play around it by only having 1 island. It's an easy prismatic ending. Ponder. Chose to shuffle. Miss your land drop. Pass. Oh, wow, they missed their land drop. Okay. Is there a Volcanic Island in this deck? I don't think there is. I think it's just Taiga. Yeah, it's just Taiga. Okay. Good news, everybody. I think I Prismatic Ending first. If they force this, I guess I force back. I wish I had a Volcanic Island to tutor for. Force pitching Brainstorm. Do I force pitching Uro here? Is that possibly correct? If I cycle Yorion Revealed. No, there's no path to Xander's Lounge plus white mana here. Yeah, force pitching Uro, force pitching Yorion Revealed. Wow, that all feels so bad. Maybe I just grind. Cycle the Yorion Revealed. Get Xander's Lounge. I really don't want to force this card. Alright, then I won't. Okay, you got away with that one, opponent. I'm going to cycle Yorion Revealed and get Xander's Lounge. I'm going to attack for 1 and then play the Lounge. I still have Force Up if they do something deeply fucked up. I could also just not play Xander's Lounge. Let them wallow. Nah, I'm going to advance my game plan. I got a 2-for-1 out of that Force of Will. They pitched a Brainstorm to do it. Even if they do drop to Fairy here, Leyline Binding can answer it. They made a bunch of red. Oh, are we going to Minsc and Boo? Yeah, I'll counter that. Oh, Life from the Loam. That makes sense, sure. Okay. We're just in Life from the Loam world. Not going to be able to Wasteland this opponent out. And floating the red indicates they might have Pyroblast. Oh, here's a land. That gets Taiga. Would have been great last turn. You dummy. Still no Plateau in the deck. This does get Savannah, though, which gives me full access to Leyline Binding without fueling the Carpet. Oh, I can go green, blue, colorless, Uro. And now I'm leaving up Caracas to play around Swords to Plowshares and Xander's Lounge to Pyroblast. They didn't have Swords to Plowshares. I think I'm going to Leyline Bind in their upkeep. Okay, we're in the upkeep. I have Pyroblast if they want to force this, but with Loam going, I don't know that they need to. But I guess I am threatening Uro next turn. Okay, that's handled. 2 Sinkholes resolves. They dredged Loam, they found Volk Savannah. I'm not going to force Loam. I just don't think that's going to be where I want to be. If I had Force a Negation, I would probably go for it, but I don't care about this on a temporary 1-for-1 kind of basis when the Force could protect the Uro. Okay, if I play Bayou, I still don't have Pyroblast available. Okay, blue, blue, green, green, exile the 5 that I have. They've kind of indicated Pyroblast already, and they do have a Taiga. I think I want to force this. I could also just... That's already a 2-for-1. Nah, I'm going to hold on to it. And like, still holding up Force Blue card, make sure I don't get cheesed, and then it's just a matter of time waiting for Uro to get refilled. Could also cast Lorien Reveal next turn. I've got choices. Caracas has Minsk and Boo under control. Okay, now I can Lorien Revealed with Force backup. That's sweet. Could also just put Yorion in my hand and leave up Red Blast. Yeah, I'm going to put Yorion in my hand. That pads out the Force blue cards. I don't really want to lose my Dryad Arbor to a random Endurance here. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Okay, that clears the Uro. That was not really close to doing anything. They're dredging Loam over there. They have Loam Zagoth Triome now, if they want to just go into the slow card advantage grind zone. Loam picks up 3 more lands. And them having Endurance and Surgical in their deck, they're targeting the graveyard, and I'm trying to ignore that whole world. Once again, what I really need here is an Up the Beanstalk. Okay, the race is on. Here comes Endurance. Second Pyroblast. Still, my Pyroblast is also my second blue for Lorien. I can cast Yorion here, leaving up Pyroblast protection or leaving up Caracas to save it. I could also just not do that. The big issue here is I don't want to just get a Lorien Revealed Pyroblasted. Okay, I am going to Yorion leaving up Caracas to protect it. If they have Pyroblast, I can't win that fight with a Pyroblast anyway. Cycling Zagoth Triumph in response, whatever. Now I wish I had the red up. Is just kind of what do you want to lose to situation. Leyline Binding, I think having it on Carpet is still better than having it on Endurance. I have a bigger creature than Endurance now. Sucks no cards were drawn, but I'm not dying in 3-point chunks anymore. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. There it is. They found that one. Caracas is a soft answer to it, but they do draw a bunch of cards in the meantime. And if they're loaming and feeding cards to Uro and stuff, decking them becomes a reasonable strat. Force the Figure. All these super smart cards that are not lining up correctly. I'm just going to pass here. No attacks, no plays. 1 more blue or 1 more red mana would really set things off. And I know I have Lorien Revealed in my hand. That could be the blue, but that's what I need the blue for. You just land go from the opponent. Everyone's hanging out. Brainstorm. If this is a card I'm playing, when am I playing it? I guess I'm going to play it right now. Brainstorm, let's go. Fix this hand. Did not fix this hand. Aer Lingus is cool, though. I'm going to put back Force of Vigor and Prismatic Ending. Then pass... Oh, shit, I shouldn't have passed. I should have actually made a land drop here. Now that I know what's going on with the top of my deck, and if I'm able to Lingus with backup, yeah, I should have shuffled and made a land drop there. They're loaming, dredging, doing stuff over there. Yeah, I blew it. I could have Force of Will up and draw a random card here. Brainstorm from the opponent. I'm not trying to get aggro on Pyroblasts on that. I think if I resolve one of these Aer Linguinuses, I'm going to win. If they come up with a Wasteland in their deck, like if they just even have a 1 and they find it, I start to be in a lot of trouble. They're so far ahead of me on mana advantage at this point. Leyline Binding. And me with a Force of Vigor, 2 cards deep on top of my deck. Annoying, but okay. Okay, they want their big mana available. Oh, that's awkward. They moved to combat. I could have Force of Vigor, killing their Leyline and their Carpet. Maybe keeping both fourths in my hand was a mistake. I don't know what's going on right now. They're cycling Zagoth Triome with that extra mana, sure. I do only have 2 forests, or islands still. Prismatic Ending on top of my deck. I actually do not want what's going on here. I'm gonna grab a Tundra and try to do some horse business this turn. Though I did just draw Mana Fixing. Okay, I'm actually gonna fix onto the Bayou for a turn if they're not doing anything, really. If I can hit land drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Blue, blue, 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I can force and Pyroblast on my turn. Karak is still keeping Uro in check. There's a Leovold in my deck, which is really good against Carpet of Flowers. If I can find that. It's a very Time Reveler. Pyroblast. That one breaks open my whole shield. Gotta watch my clock here. We're both approaching the 5-minute mark. They're a minute ahead of me. Inskin Boo, yikes. Nope. Not gonna force that. I have Caracas. And I don't need to bounce this right now. I can just block it with Yorion. Okay, I suspect what's going on here is that they're trying to manipulate the game into a spot where they can plow my Yorion. And I think that's okay. Caracas still answers the Minskin Boo. And then I can horse out this turn. They're binding my Yorion. If I find that Force of Vigor again, they're in trouble. Okay, Taiga. How many horses do I need here? A white, red, 1, 2, 3 horses. This should be enough to get the Monarch even through a removal spell, and then I have multiple pieces of interaction to punch this through. Flusterstorm. I can pay 2 for that. I'm going to leave up the Caracas rather than anything else. The Minskin Boo immediately stealing this is a problem. A Mystic Sanctuary targeting Brainstorm. Okay. Fluster again. Okay. They've countered my Lingus. And they have Brainstorm on top of their deck. Alright, quickly pass priority now. Both of us are having these big, heavy turns. They've got a bunch of other stuff they gotta worry about, though. They gotta click through Loams and Carpet triggers and Minskin Boo triggers. Hope to catch up there. Bunch of red in the pool, that's scary. I know their hand has Brainstorm in it. Gassing up the Boo. If they Lingus with Red Blast backup here, I'm in trouble. Oh, they're elbow tapping for the biggest Lingus you've ever seen. Okay, please don't have a Red Blast as your 1 mystery card in hand. Are we literally just dead right now? 10, 13? Not quite. If they go too hard here, I can actually steal it on the back hit with my 4th Aerolingus. Yeah, get in with everything. Oh my god. They're sending the squad. Oh wait, did I count wrong? Oh yeah, fuck, 10 times 2 is 20. I was counting these as 1-1s. Yeah, I'm just dead, obviously. Duh. Okay. Yeah, they worked the bigger Lingus out at the end of the party. If I waited 1 more turn. So I was trying to be patient that whole game. And if I waited 1 more turn, I would have had Red Blast up for their force your Lingus. But you would have had 2 Flusterstorms. Yeah, they were just dancing around that the entire game. Okay, cool. Nothing I could do about that other than try to fade it for another turn. GG's. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I am on the play in the final round with a turn 2 uncounterable Leovold. I'm in. Hope that's good in the matchup. Halfling is in there, and off you go. Luda Delta Lotus Petal. Okay, looks like some Reanimator, maybe Storm. I'm going to force the Faithless looting and just deal with that way. Countering in the Enabler frequently counters all of the payoffs in their hand too. If that was bait and then they Entomb Reanimate me now, I don't know what you want from me. Great. We're just going to hardcast Grief. Oh, Flashback Looting and then still have Reanimate? Jeez, okay. Yikes. Alright. Fucking A. There's that. Got reanimated through a Force of Will on turn 1. I could just concede. There is... I guess I could draw Swords to Plowshares. I'll just dump the Leovold. Yeah, if there was a Plateau in my deck, and if that was fetchable by binding, that would actually answer this. So I take 9 here, lose the binding. Guess I gotta play to drawing a land. And hope they have nothing after they've just drawn their whole deck again. Back up to 5 cards in hand. And I think I should just draw. Because any untapped mana... Alright. I can deal with the Archon here. Tundra gives me a Plains. Savannah gives me a Plains. It's the same thing. Their Faithless Looting discarded 2 Archons, so even after exiling this one, I'm still on the hook against the next Reanimate spell after they've drawn multiple extra cards since then. Yep, okay. Stone Nuts Reanimator. Exhume brings Leovold briefly back into play. That does draw me a card that I will discard immediately. Cool. Alright, Leyline Binding, Swords to Plowshares still stabilize this. Force of Will doesn't. Alright. Well, sheesh. Surgical, Fluster, Veil, all coming in. I don't think Prismatic Ending will do much here. I don't want them taking my Atraxa. I know it's a blue card for Force, but I'm off it. And Ramonep Excavator, not really a thing for this matchup. Just bring in these, and let's do it. Veil of Summer is protection, and Swords to Plowshares does deal with the first thing they put into play. If their thing is Grizzlebrand, I'm in trouble. But I kind of like this setup. As far as setups without counterspells or graveyard hate go, this one's pretty reasonable. As Archon of Cruelty does target. And they seem to be passing the turn. Okay. I'm gonna play Boseiju as a land and drop my Halfling. Entomb in the end step. Hate it, but there it is. Please get Archon. Got Grizzlebrand. Could not be fooled. Dark Ritual resolves. This is where their payoff is Animate Dead, and this Boseiju would have been busted. Fucking obviously. Okay. Yeah, there's that. Nice Boseiju in play. And it's the thing that moved my plan forward. I'm not gonna apologize for that. I'm gonna hold up the Veil to survive this turn, and then hope that, I don't know what, I draw another Plow next turn. For their multiple monsters. Here's the Veil of Summer. Are they gonna get me with a Bowmaster here? It's not even really a get, it's just like a thing. I don't know. Okay, that's stuffed. Archon triggers don't work here. Shoulder the Apocalypse, that's a pretty good card. Now they can draw their whole deck with Grizzlebrand because they gain 2 life for every 1 life they lose. Pretty cool stuff. You basically have their whole deck in play here. Neat combo. They drew 7, gain 7 life. And they can't storm me out here because I am under the protection of the Veil. But I can't imagine I'm going to beat this opponent with however much life they want to have and the perfect 7 cards in hand and multiple creatures in play. Another Entomb. Do we have some tech monster Osire Insanity? Yep. That'll do. I'm going to lose my Swords to Plowshares here. I can rip another one, I guess. Into each end step, each player discards their hand. Yep. If their deck has an Emrakul in it, they can actually gain infinite life right now. Because they draw their deck, gaining 1 life per card. In cleanup, they discard the Emrakul. Oh, Magus of the Moon too. Yeah, I mean, your whole deck's coming into play. Yeah, we don't need to play this out. Sure, whatever. You did it. Okay, 3-1 or 3-2 record. Started out strong, fell off in the back end. I will point out that the 2 matches we lost were the 2 where we didn't draw any cards with Up the Beanstalk. That whole Control Mirror just never had an Up the Beanstalk in play, and then obviously the Reanimator deck didn't give us time to do it. My feedback on this deck, I am a BEAN-LIEVE in Up the Beanstalk. I think this card is very cool and worth testing in shells like this. I don't think it's necessarily a Green Sun Zenith deck. I only made it a Zenith deck because Blue wanted me to play Blue Zenith, and that is what I've been asked to do. So I updated the Blue Zenith deck with Up the Beanstalk. if I were going to dedicate a Beanstalk strategy, I think I'd be leaning harder into Yorion Revealed, Solitude, Terminus, that sort of thing. Fourth Aerlingus for sure. And Zenith and all of the various Zenith pieces would just be things that work well with Up the Beanstalk. I'd probably build that deck to draw a ton of cards, have a ton of pitch interaction that costs 0 but is a 5-drop, and then I would just make my land drops until I can horse my opponent out. That's probably how I would approach that deck. I don't know if it's a Yorion deck or not. Obviously, Yorion is just tailor-made to go off with Beanstalk, drawing on the way in and on the exile effect. You get it going in and get it going out. Freaking insane. And to make room for all these 5-drops and Beanstalks, I cut things like Endurance, which would have been great in the Reanimator matchup. So you lose some stuff by trying to fit too much in. I focused on the engines, which were Zenith and Beanstalk. If you focus on one or the other, then you get your tech pieces back. So this deck could certainly be built better if you're not beholden to do any specific thing with it. And I will certainly be playing more Up the Beanstalk on this channel. This is exactly my kind of card. Eternal Weekend's coming up. Who knows? I might be going Up the Beanstalk at that. Very excited to test the decks out. Blue, thank you for inviting me to play this deck. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon and all the sponsors, and I'll see you next time.